In today's video, we're going to look at several tips for working with apps on the iPhone. This includes everything from how to move multiple apps, the app library, how we can manage our home screens, including hiding them or even removing them, and how we can set up accessibility settings on a per app basis. Now, before we get started, if you like what I have here, stick around till the end. I have a little bit more about me and how you can support my efforts. All right, let's get back over to the iPhone and working with apps. In my first tip, we're going to look at how we can move several apps at the same time. So when we're looking at my iPhone here, you can see I have several home screens. But what I could easily do is move a number of these apps over to another home screen. How can I do that? Well, instead of grabbing them one by one, just taking one and dragging it over and moving it over, what I can do is I can actually grab all of these at the same time and move them all at once. All you have to do that is just grab one of the app icons. So I'm going to long press on this one here, and then I just drag it away from where it is located. So let's go ahead and do that. Just take it and I drag it. Now what I do, I'm still holding on to this. Now what I do is I tap on the other icons. And when I do, you're going to see that they are being grouped together with my app here. And now what I can do is I can take all of those apps in a pile and drag them to another home screen. I let go, and now all of those are on that home screen. So just long press and then drag it away, and then tap on the other app icons to add it to that grouping. And then you can drag them where you want. So that's how you can move multiple apps. Now let's take a look at the app library. With the app library, what we're able to do is view all of our apps in a list in alphabetical order. It's my favorite way of viewing apps. This is how I view them on my Mac. I have them in an applications folder. They're in list view, in alphabetical view. Well, we can do the same thing on the iPhone. All we have to do is just go over to the last home screen. So if I swipe, you're going to see down at the bottom here, I can see how many home screens I have. So I have 4 home screens here because there's 4 dots when I swipe. Well, if I go to the last one and then I swipe to the left one more time, what it's going to do is it's going to show me my app library. Now, right now, they're still in folders. If I want to see them in list view, my favorite view, all you do is just swipe down, and then you can see them in list view. Not only are they in alphabetical order, but you can tap on a letter here to go directly to that app or those apps that start out with that letter. Now, the app library is nice. We can see all of our apps on the iPhone in alphabetical order in a list. But there might be a slight problem with that. You have to swipe quite a few times to get to that app library. If you have a lot of home screens, you have to swipe, 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 and then you can get to your app library. Well, in this tip, we're going to look at how we can manage those home screens, how we can reduce the number of times we need to swipe. What we can do is we can hide our home screens as well as remove them altogether. We can even rearrange them. Let's go back over to my iPhone. So as I mentioned, right now I have 4 home screens. So I have to swipe, 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 and then I get to my app library. I swipe again. It shows me all of my apps in a list format. What I would like to do is remove or reduce the amount of times that I need to swipe. And the way that I would do that is I would remove several home screens. As an example, I don't want to use these apps. I don't need these apps on a home screen. They're in my app library, so I'd like to remove this home screen altogether. Same thing with this one. I'd just like to remove that home screen altogether. And then when I do that, I'm going to have 2 home screens, and then I can swipe again, it gets my app library. That's generally how I recommend people to do it. Have your favorite apps on the first home screen, secondary apps here, and then you can get to your app library. Well, what I could do is I could remove all of these individually, but that's going to take a lot of time. What we can do is we can actually just remove this home screen altogether. Actually, we can hide it before we remove it. To do that, what we do is we long press on here till we get to the jiggly mode, and then we just tap on the dots here where we can see all of our home screens. And when I do, I can see all of my home screens. Now remember, I had 4 home screens, but if we look, you're going to see I have 7 of them here. That's because these are hidden and this one is hidden. They are not checked. That's how we hide a home screen. So if I wanted to reduce this down to 2, these 2 here, all I have to do is just uncheck these here. Let's go ahead and do that. And now I tap on done. And now I have 2 home screens. So I have my first one, my favorite apps, secondary apps, and then I swipe again, my app library. So I can easily get to my app library just by swiping a few times. I don't have to keep swiping to get through all of my home screens. Now, in addition to hiding them, we can also remove them altogether. So I long press again, then we tap on this, and you're going to see with any home screen that is hidden, what we have here is a minus in the upper left-hand corner. If it is not hidden, you're not going to have that minus there. You have to hide it first. So now what I can do is I can remove any one of these home screens just by tapping on this minus. Now there's one catch to this. When you hide it, it doesn't actually remove any apps. They're going to be in your app library. Every app is in your app library. But in addition to your apps, you may have bookmarks on your iPhone. You're probably not familiar with what bookmarks are. I'm going to go back to my home screen here. When I look at this app here, this is one that I created in the Shortcuts app. So this is actually technically a bookmark. So when I long press on it to remove it, you're going to see it says delete bookmark. If I were to add an app from Safari or add a website from Safari as a home screen, you can just tap on Safari, and then when you go to share, what you're able to do is add this to the home screen. When you do that, what it does is it creates a bookmark. Long press on it, it's a bookmark. Well, back to our home screens. When I remove that home screen, what it's going to do is it's also going to remove these bookmarks. It'll keep all of the apps because all of your apps are in the app library. You don't have to worry about that. But bookmarks cannot be stored in the app library, so we'll remove these altogether. So if I go to the jiggle mode and I tap on the four dots, and let's say I wanted to get rid of that home screen, so I tap on the minus here, and I can remove this. I'm going to have another, because this home screen has bookmarks on it, I'm going to have another option here, keep bookmarks. Basically what this is telling me is if I remove this home screen, it's going to remove those bookmarks. This is generally why I like to hide them. I don't really need to remove those bookmarks. Maybe I'm going to use them later on so I can just show that bookmark or show that home screen again just by checking it. So I generally will not remove them. What I would recommend doing is just hiding them. The last thing I want to mention about home screens is we can also rearrange these. So let's say that this is your favorite app. So right now this is the second screen. Well, all I have to do is just drag this and I can place it where I want. So we can rearrange these home screens as well. Now let's say you want to remove an app from a home screen, but you don't want to remove it altogether. You don't want to delete it. You can do that as well. You may have seen this when you try to remove an app. Let's go over to numbers here. I want to remove this from my home screen, but I want to keep it on my iPhone. I want to keep it in the app library. Every app is in your app library. So all I have to do is just long press on it, and then you're going to see remove app. But it's not going to remove the app altogether. I have another question here that I need to answer. Do I want to delete the app? If I delete it, it's going to remove it from my iPhone altogether. Or what I could do is I could remove it from the home screen. So I'll still find it in my app library. So let's say I didn't want to have this on this home screen. I can get to it through the app library or by searching. So now what I do is I just tap on remove from home screen, and I removed it from the home screen. But if we go over to my app library here and we go over to in, you're going to see I do have numbers on here yet. So that's how we can easily remove them without removing it from your iPhone altogether. Just remove it from the home screen. Let's go the opposite. Now what you'd like to do is you'd like to add that back to your home screen. How can you do that? A couple different ways to do that. You can do this through search, or you can do this through the app library. Let's go back over to my iPhone. So I want to add numbers back to my home screen. One way of doing that is through search. So I just swipe down, I get my search, I type in numbers. It's going to find the app, and then all I have to do is just long press on this and drag it to my home screen. So I long press and I drag it and I place it where I want. And now that is on my home screen. We can also do the same thing from the app library. So I swipe over to the left, swipe down, and when I go to numbers here, what I'm able to do is take the icon here, long press, I drag it, and I can place it where I want. And now it's on that page. So we can easily add the app back to a home screen just by dragging and dropping. In this tip, we're going to look at how we can create multiple instances of an app. You may have seen I did this in the last tip. I created or I added numbers to a couple of different home screens. Let's see how I did this and why I may want to do this. Let's go back over to my iPhone. So I have here a home screen. Let's say this one's used for work. This one is used for personal reasons. Now, what I would like to do is have an app that I use on both of these home screens. This is why we may want to create multiple instances. So you're going to see I have here numbers here, and I have numbers here. So it's available to me on both home screens. I don't want to have it take up the dock. If I were to have more home screens, I could have it on 2 different home screens out of 6. I don't want to put it in the dock to where it's accessible on every home screen. This is what I use for my critical apps, I would say. But what I do want to do is have multiple instances here. Well, all you have to do, as you saw in the last tip, is just search for the app, and then you just drag it, and then you can place it where you want. You can also do it from the app library. And when you do that, you're creating a multiple instance of it. Now, this is not an exact duplicate. If I were to open up any one of these numbers, it's going to open up the same spreadsheet. If I were to do this with my Notes app, it's going to open up the same note. You're not duplicating it. It's not a separate version of it. All it is just another instance. So then what I can do is take this one here and move it to another home screen. So then I have easy access to it. So that's why you may want to do that. Now, when you go and remove it, let's go ahead and remove this. Remove it. You're going to see that I can remove the app. If I go and remove this from the home screen, it's going to remove that one instance. But if I go and delete it, it's going to delete all of the instances because it's removing it from the home screen itself or from the iPhone itself. So you have to be a little cautious with that. Typically, you'll probably just want to remove it from the home screen. I'm going to do that, and we can see it removed it here, but I still have it here. So that's how you can create multiple versions of an app and have it on different home screens. Now, in this last tip, we're going to look at per app settings. You may be familiar with how we can change the text size on the whole iPhone. This is an accessibility option. Well, we can also do this on a per app basis. Let's say I wanted to make the text a little larger in numbers, but I don't want to do it for all of the other apps. This is what the per app settings allows us to do. We can change the text size or make it bold or any other number of accessibility options on a per app basis. How do we do that? Well, we need to go to our settings app. So I'm going to go to my settings app here. And as I mentioned, this is an accessibility option. So we have to go to accessibility here. And then instead of these changes here, we don't want to make any changes here. This is global. So I don't want to change the text size. I don't want to make it bold. I don't want to do anything here. That's going to affect every app. But if we swipe up, you're going to see we have per app settings. And then when I tap on this, I'm able to add an app and make changes to that individual app. So you can see I have 2 of them here. Let's go ahead and add another one. Tap on Add App. We're going to go to Messages here. Let's say I wanted to make the text a little larger on Messages only or make it a little smaller. I just tap on it. And now from here, I have display and text size. I can make any changes there, reduce the transparency, increase the contrast, and it only affects this app here. So any changes that you make here are going to be for that app only. So if you have the text really large globally, maybe you want to make it a little smaller for an app, or vice versa. To remove a setting, all you have to do is just swipe over to the left, and when you do, you can remove that in-app setting. And then it's going to make it back over to the default settings. So then if you made the text larger globally, it will be larger now again. Or if you made it smaller, it'll make it smaller again. So it just removes any per app settings. So those are some tips on how we can work with apps on the iPhone. We can move multiple apps. We have our app library. We can manage our home screens, including hiding them or removing them, or even rearrange them. We also have per app settings. Most of these are done through the home screen itself, but if you want to go to the per app settings, you need to go to the settings app and then open up accessibility, swipe all the way down to per app settings. So those are some ways that we can manage our apps on the iPhone. Now, if you found this video helpful, What you may want to do is like the video, share the video with your friends or family, or even subscribe to the videos. I also do have a website that has a lot more videos. On YouTube, as of this time, I have about 450 videos, but on my site, I have over 2,100 videos. I've been creating videos for my site a lot longer than I have for YouTube. When you go over to my site, you can view all of the videos, but again, if you like what you see, you can also help support my efforts. It is a membership-based website. So when you become a member, you can get access to all the videos ad-free, so I take out all of the ads, so no more YouTube ads. You also get access to my AI assistant, which is modeled after an Apple Genius. So if you have a question on something, you can go and ask the AI assistant. I host webinars and seminars on a regular basis, usually 2 to 3 a month, so you can join any one of those. And then the last thing is you're helping support a small business. So if you like what you see here, take a look at my site, Dan's Tutorials. I have a lot more videos over there, and if you want to help support my efforts, you can join my membership there. So that is how we work with apps on the iPhone.